Greetings and welcome again, ladies and gentlemen, to this time reading with Cowboy Short. I tell you what, we get to read all these neat books, and you guys get to look at me and see how pretty I am, and I can't figure out technology. Well, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today, we kind of messed up and missed a day, but we're going to read about the Oklahoma Land Run, which was April the 22nd, 1889, in one of the many land runs in what is now the state of Oklahoma. So, Belle Townsend, the one that wrote Clancy and Grady's in the Silo, sent this over to me, and so we're going to read it. All right. "I can do it, Pa, I know I can," said Jesse as he fed the horses Ben and Bob in the shed. "Son, you're too young, and it's dangerous," answered Pa. "Hundreds of people will be there, maybe thousands. Our horses are strong, but if they get excited, they'll be hard to handle." Pa tried to get his shoulder and arm in a better position in his sling. His fall last week had been a bad one. Tomorrow would be April 22nd, 1889. At noon, 2 million acres called the Unassigned Lands would be given to settlers in a land run. Now, his dream of pounding a stake in the ground to claim 160 acres of free land in the Oklahoma Territory would not come true. Tugging at his sling again, he knew he wouldn't even drive his wagon. "Pa," Jesse pleaded, "it's our only chance. You've let me drive before. You're right, Jesse. Guess you'll have to drive the team tomorrow," Pa said, picking up a wooden stake in his good hand. "I'll be there beside you, but I just don't like the idea of my 9-year-old son racing against grown men." He threw the stake to the ground. That evening, Jesse helped his pa lie down, and he pulled a quilt over him and said, "Pa, I can do it. I'll get us some land." When it was time to go to the starting line the next morning, Ma gave them a dinner bucket with beans, biscuits, and jerky in it. Jesse helped Pa climb into the wagon. "Get close to the front," said Pa. "We'll have to look out for Sooners. They'll have their claim registered before most of us can put a stake in the ground." Sooners. At the starting line, they waited for the signal to begin. Men pushed past them on horseback. Others in wagons and one-horse buggies wiggled their way toward the starting line. A few on bicycles and on foot tried to sneak ahead of the others. "Whoa, get back in line," shouted a tall soldier on horseback as he patrolled the starting area. The men turned around and joined the others. One family tried to hide in a clump of bushes. "Move back," yelled the tall Fort Reno cavalryman. "Pa, a captain over there says the trains are full of people ready to jump off for some of that free land," said Jesse. "You reckon that's true?" "I don't know," said Pa. "There must be 100 wagons around here. I'm pretty sure there are plenty of people on trains, too." The impatient crowd continued to push toward the starting line as it neared noon. At 12 o'clock, a cannon's blast shattered the silence. Riders on horses darted out in front. "Yee-haw!" yelled Jesse, slapping the reins to his horses. Ben and Bob sprang forward. The rumbling of horses' hooves and wagon wheels filled the air. Dust flew everywhere. Jesse's eyes stung. He and Pa gasped for some fresh air. Jesse's heart pounded wildly. He had a tight grasp on the reins. Within a few minutes, his hands throbbed. He relaxed his grip a little. It would be a long race. A rough-looking man in a nearby wagon yelled, "Get out of my way, boy! Young'uns your age shouldn't be a-driving." He grabbed his whip and boomed at his horses. "Faster," I said, "faster." Scary. He tried squeezing his wagon between Jesse's and another one. For a moment, Jesse thought their wheels would lock together, tearing up Pa's wagon. Tightening his grip on the reins, Jesse yelled, "What do I do, Pa?" "Hold her steady and keep her straight," said Pa. "You'll be all right." The burly man charged to the front, scattering dirt all over the wagons he passed. Jesse and his pa breathed in the swirling dust and coughed. "Pa, my eyes feel gritty," shouted Jesse. He wiped his face and blew dirt from his lips. "Keep driving, son," said Pa. He winced in pain as the wagon bumped along the uneven prairie. Long before, they noticed a few people slowing down. Some were working on broken wagon wheels. Others took care of lame horses. "Pa, there's a pond over there with some cedar trees around it. Let's claim that land," said Jesse as he slowed the horses. As they got closer, they saw a red-haired man standing under a tree. His horse gulped water at the pond. "Move on," he yelled, holding up his hammer and stake. "This land's mine." Paul sighed and shifted in the seat. He said, "Jesse, turn the horses toward that little hill over there." Turn the pages. Jesse looked around him as the horses climbed to the top of the hill. "I like this land, Paul. There's a creek in the valley and wildflowers growing on the hillside. There's even some mistletoe hanging in the trees." Mistletoe is the state flower of Oklahoma. "I like it too," said Paul. We could build a house over there by those trees and plant a big garden." "Whoa, Ben, whoa, Bob," said Jesse, pulling the wagon up to the creek. The thirsty horses stretched their neck towards the water. "I'll look for the surveyor's stone," said Jesse as he jumped from the wagon. He knew Paul needed the information on it to claim the land. Jesse ran up and down the hill and then toward the creek, searching for the stone. "I've got to find it," he thought. After a few minutes, he yelled, "Look, Paul, I think that's the stone we're looking for. The one near the top of the hill on the other side of the creek." He grabbed the hammer and stake and ran toward the water. Taking a deep breath, he splashed through the creek. It was cold, but he didn't care. He raced up the hill and saw the surveyor's stone near a pile of rocks. He quickly placed Paul's stake next to it. Then he pounded the stake in the hard ground until it was deep in the dirt. Turning toward his Paul, he threw his hat in the air. "We did it, Paul!" he yelled. "We did it!" He knew the next few years would be busy ones. They would have to build a house and improve the land in order to keep it. Right now, though, he couldn't wait to tell his ma about the wildflowers in bloom. She'd like that. What he'd like, though, was fishing and swimming in the creek. So, that's a very good book about the Oklahoma land run that actually happened in the great state of Oklahoma. So this is Cowboy Short. I hope you have a great day, and take care of yourselves, folks. See ya.